Swan Private Chef, and today I'm here with Leigh, co-owner of Rascallion, and we're going to be making a delicious chocolate Eton mess. So I think the first thing we should get going with, Leigh, is you telling me about this Eton mess, and have you made it before? Is it something that you enjoy with family and friends on the weekends?
You know, the chocolate Eton mess with all the berries is a really decadent dessert. Everybody loves it. It's kind of a real wow factor when you bring it to the table. Everybody just wants to tuck in, and because it's all broken up and chunky, and everybody can make a big mess and enjoy themselves at the same time. So I really do like to make it for a fun, decadent dessert. And because of the chocolate and the berry combo, everybody just always polishes it off. There's normally nothing left on the platter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Before we get started, why don't we pour some Rascallion Rosé that pairs perfectly with this chocolate Eton mess, because I think that'll be a good start.
Good idea. Okay, let's grab it from the fridge.
So I've heard great things about this Rascallion Rosé, and I actually have tasted it in the past, and it's a beautiful, easy drinking rosé. I mean, I'm not going to say I drank the entire bottle, but it's lovely to share and enjoy with friends, especially chilled.
Yeah, I think that this rosé just goes beautifully with because of the lovely berry aromas and taste. It's just perfect with the berry dessert.
Yes.
And even with the chocolate incorporated, it just works very, very well together.
Cheers!
With this particular wine. Okay, so if you'd like to separate the last egg, there are actually 6 eggs in the meringue.
Yes.
And then we can start whisking the whites.
Okay, perfect.
If you've got any chefy tips about, which I'm sure you do have, about meringues, then go for it.
So yes, so we're just gonna separate, make sure I put the white in the right bowl. I think the main thing with egg whites, which I don't know if many people know, is to make sure that your bowl is nice and clean, and that you either use a glass or metal bowl. So avoid any plastic or wood for whipping. You won't get a nice whip. Okay, so I'm adding my egg whites to the bowl, correct?
Add the egg whites to the bowl.
While the egg whites are whipping, Leigh, you're going to weigh out the caster sugar for us. You can always use granulated sugar when you do whipping egg whites and adding it, but it's better to use caster sugar because it incorporates quicker into your egg whites and you don't have any granular sugar, etc. If you can't get hold of caster sugar when you're doing meringues, etc., you can always just pop it in a food processor and blitz it up slightly so it's a bit finer, and then it will incorporate into your egg whites better.
Okay, that's great to know. And what I like to do with my caster sugar, my mom gave me this tip, is store it in your pantry with some vanilla pods that have been split open, or even when you have those bits of vanilla pod that you just don't know what to do with. Stick it in your jar of caster sugar, and then you automatically have this lovely vanilla-y caster sugar, especially with meringue, but if you're using it for anything, it's very nice. So I've got a few little bits of, we don't want those to go in, but I'm just going to measure out. So it's 300 grams of caster. Oops, let's get the scale on.
Yeah.
Put all those bits in there.
So drink some more.
See. Smells lovely. I've got beautiful vanilla smell coming off here.
And you can also use lavender. So if you have like the lavender flowers, you
I
can
like that idea.
Pop it in. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a tablespoon at a time of caster sugar to your egg whites.
So now we've got this beautiful, decadent, it really is, Valrhona cocoa powder. I mean, it's amazing. You can really taste the difference when you use something like that. So 3 tablespoons, we're just going to sift into the meringue.
So our meringue is nice and glossy and firm now. You want to make sure that happens, and if it doesn't, your meringue can fall. So it must be nice and thick. It must look like soft serve ice cream. That's the kind of consistency you want to go for.
I'll just give that to you if you don't
Sure.
mind.
So you can pass me that spoon so I can
Just squish it out all the lumps. Okay.
Yes. And then when you fold in your cocoa powder, do you like to have some nice swirls, or do you like to have the meringue like completely chocolatey?
For this particular recipe, I think it would be nice to just have a uniform chocolate.
Perfect.
Full chocolatey colour.
Okay, so is anything else coming into this?
And then what we're also going to fold in is some balsamic vinegar.
That's interesting.
Just to, you know, the meringue is very, very sweet.
Yes.
And the balsamic vinegar just cuts that sweetness, but also it actually goes very well with strawberries. I don't know if you've ever sprinkled balsamic or black pepper over strawberries. People always think it's weird, but it brings out the taste.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And it doesn't taste vinegary, especially this balsamic is quite, you know, it's quite treacly, it's quite syrupy.
Nice.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect. Actually, love to taste this one. Very nice. And it's not too, it's quite sweet.
Not too acidic.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the last thing, we'll almost be done with meringue, is just to chop up some chocolate, dark chocolate.
Okay, I'll get on that.
And gently fold that into the meringue.
Okay. Got meringue on my face.
I'm just going to measure out the chopping and I'll let you do the chopping.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try and, that's chop for ends.
So that's, I know.
So,
okay, and I think it's better to be finely chopped for the to go into the meringue, right?
Perfect,
yeah. Otherwise, the always put more chunks over with the berries afterwards.
So, a nice little trick for even when you're doing cookies or anything, you just take a tiny bit of the mixture and you kind of just put it onto your tray, and then it holds your baking paper down. Otherwise, you're going to be struggling. And
excellent, I like that.
Creates a little thing. So I'm going to pop this onto here.
Beautiful and shiny.
And you think I should pop it all on here to see?
Yeah.
Maybe not too thick.
Let's see how we go with this particular tray. And maybe if you want to leave a bit off, just see. She made quite a big quantity. Sometimes, depending on the eggs, it varies.
See, it's still the paper still kind of sticks, but it just
it definitely helps.
But
I think that's probably enough.
And thick enough or thinner?
I think this is good. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. What do you think?
I think that's perfect. I think it's neat, so just leave this. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to pop it into the oven.
Yep.
Okay, do we need a timer on this guy?
Let's put a timer on our phone. So now the fun starts actually.
Yes.
The meringue is done and has to be completely cool because otherwise your cream will melt and that will spoil the dessert. So our meringue is ready to go and now we've got to whip up the cream. So in your box you will have found this little vanilla infusion sachet, which is quite a nifty little number because a few hours before you want to start making the dessert, put it into your cream and just let it infuse. Like that, it gives an amazing intense vanilla flavor to the cream.
Wow.
And I've never used one of these before.
Yeah, I've never seen them, and this is very nifty.
Very nifty because you can dry it afterwards. You just got to rinse it off really well and then dry it. It dries absolutely perfectly.
It's like a reusable
and
tea
you
bag.
can completely reuse it. I mean, ideal for doing the same thing, or like we said earlier, put it into your caster sugar or any sugar and get a lovely vanilla flavor.
Awesome.
So I'll just show you, so that's kind of been infusing in that cream and I can even see like
a few
little bits of flecks of the vanilla, exactly. Little bit messy, but don't be put off by that, just scrape off your cream.
So our meringue is ready and I taste the little piece. So delicious, so chocolatey. So now Leigh, we're going to cut the meringue up and create layers with the cream, the vanilla cream, the berries and the chocolate. So if your berries are a little bit sour, the trick to do is just add a bit of caster sugar and it'll just create some maceration. It'll get the berries nice and juicy and just balance out the sourness. I'm going to start chopping up the meringue very carefully. Obviously meringue is brittle, so it's going to break up, but Try and not have it break up too much. So we're going to see how this responds. And hope.
That's great. That looks good.
Yeah, and I think also when it's not too dry, the meringue, it kind of holds together a bit better. So exactly. It's not as brittle.
Yes.
So like the outside pieces are very brittle, but the inside pieces
nice and chewy.
Holding, yeah.
And that was what, about an hour in the oven?
Yes, correct. The way I like to work when I layer things is in threes. So the way I'm going to look at this is like I'm going to have a layer of cream, some berries, some chocolate, some meringue, some cream, some berries, some chocolate, some meringue. So and then keep going with that.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm just going to chop up some chocolate here. Just should have made that before the meringue. But
it is, you can use as much or as little chocolate as you want, but the more the better actually. You've got plenty of leftover chocolate you should have in your box, so just use however much you want.
And the thing is also, always remember when you are kind of plating or cooking or things, you want height, because height is, you don't want things to be flat and boring. That guy's a bit big, he can be in half.
Looking gorgeous.
Kind of just go from there, and then we're going to do the next layer. Also with this dessert, it's not a dessert that can kind of sit, it's a dessert that you want to dish and serve.
Yes.
Because obviously your cream is going to start getting a bit
soft and
soft. So this is kind of how I like to work. Always just kind of keep it together.
Drizzle some more berries.
Yeah, I'm just going to fill in this with some colour.
Pockets.
And then you've got something special at the back there
yes,
for us.
Do you want to almost forgot. Okay.
Do you want to grab it?
This is the pièce de résistance. Just the extra little treat.
Yes.
I mean, this is already a big treat, this dessert.
Yes.
But we've got some raspberry pearls that I found here that just pop in your mouth, they're little flavour explosions. And thought that would just bring it all together. You can sprinkle as much as you want on top. It's like little raspberry caviar, if you want to think of it like that.
Yeah. So I remember when I was a student chef, we had to make these.
Really?
And you make them, it's like with gelatin and flavour, and then you drop them into cold oil. And you can make any kind of flavour. It's actually very interesting, but it's painstaking
work,
yeah, I think that's just something nice and
just a little bit of extra indulgence.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
that's fabulous, Megan.
Yeah.
And voila. Chocolate Eton Mess.
Yeah.
Let's tuck
Cheers.
in.
Yeah, cheers.